Think of nostalgia as a design language, not just an emotion, but a visual, auditory, and textual grammar used to sell us comfort. Mid-century ads began using old, timey fonts and sepia tones because they made products feel trusted, like they belonged in your family photo album. This wasn't about preserving the past. It was about manufacturing trust through aesthetic trickery. Today, that idea is fully commercialized. UI designers add film grain to app interfaces or use vintage color palettes for dating apps and productivity tools. The idea isn't to remember history, but to simulate a history your brain can believe in. In this way, the past becomes product packaging. Jameson called it the nostalgia mode, a style that borrows freely from past eras without anchoring itself in real history. It makes things feel timeless, like they always existed. This is why Lawrence Kasdan's Body Heat, 1981, feels less like 1980s Florida and more like an eternal 1930s Noir dream. The objects may be contemporary, but the mood isn't. It's as if we can no longer look at our own time without a filter. Nostalgia becomes the lens through which we see everything. Not just old things, but new experiences too. Designers today simulate the artifacts of older media, a VHS static, typewriter fonts, Polaroid textures, to create a false sense of authenticity. These aren't about preserving history, but about manufacturing it. The same way Jameson noticed old film styles invading modern movies, we now see designers using AI to generate vintage.
Mid-century design was all about simplicity and functionality. It rejected clutter in favor of clean lines and honest materials. That era trusted less to say more, and honestly.
Let's start with Roland Barthes' idea of photography as evidence. A medium that attests to that has been, for centuries, photographs were seen as proof because they captured moments before digital reproduction. But in the digital age, AI, tools and design software have made it possible to generate these signs of authenticity on demand. Film grain, crackle, analog distortion. These are no longer byproducts of a flawed process, but deliberate choices manufactured at scale.
Our next guest warns that a significant slowdown in the payoff of AI could tip the economy into recession. Apollo chief economist and partner Torsten Schlock joins us with more. Torsten, great to have you with us. So you're basically asking the question, what if it takes longer for this payoff to actually materialize? Or what if it doesn't happen?
Yep.
What are the odds? How do you assess the risk and the reward here?
Well, let's first agree that AI is making a huge difference on all our lives. So it will be a revolutionary technology. It continues to have a dramatic impact. But the key issue
the greatest example of America's success is the motor car of quality. Any place on earth, you will find America's automobiles serving the people.
Skeuomorphic design is a kind of digital archaeology, where we dig into aesthetic history to unearth textures like leather, wood grain, or stone and implant them into our apps and websites. This isn't just nostalgia. It's about comfort, trust, and familiarity in an otherwise alienating interface. The idea is simple. If you can trick your brain into thinking a button feels like real paper, you'll feel more at home in the virtual space. Apple's early iWork suite, numbers, pages, keynotes, used leather textures and paper folds to mimic physical objects. It's not just visuals. It's emotional engineering that builds trust through familiarity. Just this week, The Economist reported that the AI boom has entered what some are calling a manic new phase. While tech firms tout breakthroughs and governments race to legislate around them, it's becoming clear how these systems are trained not just on data, but on the aesthetics we think of as authentic. AI. Tools now generate vintage handwriting for logos, retro-sounding jingles for ads, and even fake 1970s era typefaces for social media avatars. These digital fakes don't just mimic nostalgia, they sell it. They're not trying to remember the past. They're curating an emotionally optimized version of it that can be mass-produced. The speaker argues that American ingenuity is all about problem solving. The kind of logic we now see replicated in digital design. But instead of solving technical challenges, designers are solving emotional ones.
They overlooked one all-important fact that we should know so well. That is, as long as there is a problem to be solved or a desire to be met, American ingenuity will not rest.
AI now crafts vintage letter scripts, deepfake voices, and retro filters to mimic authenticity. But these are not echoes of realness. They're engineered imitations designed to bypass our skepticism with visual and auditory cues we associate with sincerity. What once required human touch is now a command line away. These simulations aren't just mimicking the past, they're redefining it for us, reshaping what counts as genuine in a world where trust is scarce. We no longer recognize authenticity by its presence, only by how well it spoofs our expectations. But as we rely more on these imitations to define what's real, we lose the ability to distinguish between artifact and origin. Neil Postman warned that when language is commandeered by new tools, it reshapes how we think, and now nostalgia has followed suit. It no longer reflects memory or sentiment. It serves marketing and control. We buy into a past that never existed except in design blueprints and algorithmic prompts. The more convincing the